We are doing Navadvip Parikrama under the guidance of Nityananda Prabhu, together with Srivas, Jiva Goswami, Bangshi, Madan, Ananda, and now also Baninath joined. So we heard yesterday that after Ritudvip, that is Radhakunda, they went towards Vidyanagar. All glories to Shri Gaurahari, all glories to Shri Nityananda Prabhu, all glories to Shri Advaita Acharya Prabhu, all glories to Shri Gadadhar Pandit, all glories to Shri Vas Pandit, all glories to Shri Navadvip Dham, the ocean of Kirtan. Arriving in Shri Vidyanagar, Shri Nityananda Prabhu began to explain the real nature of that place to Shri Jiva. Even at the time of annihilation, this eternal Dham, Shri Navadvip, which has the form of an 8-petaled lotus flower, remains pure. All the avatars of Shri Bhagavan and innumerable fortunate living entities stay in one section of that lotus. In his Matsya avatar, the Lord brought the Vedas to this Vidyanagar, which is situated within Ritudvip. Because all kinds of knowledge reside here under the shelter of the Vedas, the place has become famous by the name Vidyanagar. When Brahma again became inclined to create, he became fearful to see the annihilation. Seeing Brahma fearful, the Supreme Lord bestowed mercy upon him. As a result, Brahma was able to offer prayers to him at this very place. As soon as Brahma opened his mouth to offer prayers, the most beautiful Saraswati Devi appeared on his tongue. By the potency bestowed by Saraswati Devi, the four-headed Brahma, overjoyed, offered prayers to Shri Krishna. Shri Nityananda Prabhu said, O Jiva, at the time of creation, Maya Devi resides in the material world with the three modes of material nature, on the other side of the Viraja river. The sages endeavor untiringly to reveal true knowledge within this universe, which is manifested by Maya. Taking shelter of this Sharada Pit, or the abode of Saraswati Devi, the sages defeat ignorance. When they have learned the 64 kinds of knowledge, the sages preach that knowledge throughout the world. The 64 type of knowledge, Krishna also played the pastime of learning from Sandipanini in Gurukula, 64, and he and Baladev Prabhu, they learned each one in one day only. That is possible for them, so they got. In this place, the sages can study any type of knowledge according to their respective desires. By the mercy of Sri Narad, Sri Valmiki came here and received a taste for transcendental poetry. He got that grace of Narad before he was a great sinner, Ratnakar, but by the grace of Narad, he first started chanting Mara 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 Mara, then Rama 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 came, and he wrote transcendental poetry, which is Ramayana. At this place, Dhanvantari received the Ayurveda, and Vishwamitra and others learned Dhanur Vidya, the art of archery. The sages headed by Shaunaka Rishi, also learned here how to recite the Vedic mantras. They were the one who heard Bhagavatam also from Sutta Goswami. So before that they were doing that yagya, great sacrifice, and also to hear the Puranas. So then they heard. The Lord of the demigods, Mahadev, expounded Tantra here. That is also for gradual procedure, for gradual elevation, it is meant. At this place, on the request of the sages, Brahma manifested the four Vedas from his four mouths, or four faces also. Mukha means both face and mouth also. So the Veda came out. So since the beginning of creation, Vedic knowledge is there. It is eternal, and then it is manifested. Residing at this place, Kapil created Sankhya philosophy, and Sri Gautam Rishi manifested Nyaya, logic, and Tarka, argument. At this place, the sage Kanbhuka or Kanada manifested Vaisheshika philosophy, and Patanjali manifested Yoga Shastra. Jaimini Rishi manifested Mimamsa Shastra. That is Purva Mimamsa, he made. I told a few days back, prior investigation or first investigation prior, that is Karma Kant. Then, and Sri Vyasa, Veda Vyas manifested the Puranas and other scriptures here. Vyasadeva then later he made Uttara Mimamsa. Later investigation, that is investigation into Brahma, the supreme truth, absolute truth, Brahma, in Vedanta Sutra. And he manifested Puranas, and also he manifested, Mahabharata, then ultimately Bhagavatam. There it is written in Bhagavatam that Shudras and ladies and those low-born, they are not eligible to study Vedic scriptures. Means this Rig Veda and Yajur, all four Vedas, and Upanishads and Vedanta, it is difficult for them to understand. But for them, Vyasadeva manifested Mahabharata, but through which they will get Vedic knowledge, but in a more simple format. But they will not be deprived. They can get. Gita is also there. And the best is Bhagavatam. It is for all. But that is, of course, someone muted my microphone. Devaki did. So that is generally, but there are some exceptional ladies like Maitreyi, Gargi. They were studying Vedas and Upanishads, everything, and they were debating. They can do. So that rule is in general. Also, we have that, I forgot his name. He was born low class from like one low class lady, but his qualities were Brahminical. He was very truthful. So that Guru, he came to Guru to learn Veda, and Guru said, you first tell me your family background, but he did not know. Then Guru sent him, you go to your mother and ask. He went, and mother said, I don't know whose child you are. I had many. I was serving many because she was maid servant. So I don't know who is your father. So he came back to his Guru and said, I asked my mother and she said she doesn't know. So we don't know. Then immediately that Guru became very pleased. He said, yes, you are Brahmin because you are truthful. You did not become ashamed for such truth and try to hide it. No, you spoke the truth. So by your qualities, it doesn't matter in which kind of family you were born. You are Brahmin. So I will teach you Veda. So the point is about the qualification, not external only thing. So he taught him. The 5 sages headed by Narad manifested the Pancharatra here to teach the living entities about sadhana. This Pancharatra mantra everyone can get. Vedic mantras are not given to all. In Shastra, in Hari Bhakti Vilas also, Sanatana Goswami he quoted, Vedic mantras, ladies and Shudras and low class, all these, they are not eligible to receive Vedic mantras like Brahma Gayatri, but all are eligible to get Pancharatrika mantras, and by that they will get same thing. So one should not be disappointed. And even without this, by Harinam one can get everything. So Pancharatra, Narad Pancharatra, there. But if someone chants Harinam in surrender to Supreme Lord and he destroys his prarabdha karma and he gains some qualification, then he is also eligible to receive that Vedic mantras, although he was not born in like such families. He is eligible by the power of devotion. He can get that qualification. That is why in our math, under the guidance of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, first everyone will receive Harinam. That is open to all who have faith. Then when they will gather some qualification, then they will also get other mantras for deity worship and for this. If necessary, if Gurudev will think necessary, that will help Nam Bhajan, and ultimately Nam Bhajan will take us to Guru Vrindavan. The Upanishads state in this forest, so it is not necessary for all those, either Vedic mantras or Pancharatric mantras, it is not necessary exclusively, but what is necessary is, under the guidance of pure devotee, to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Harinam, and Panchatattva mantra, then that will give highest goal. The Upanishads stayed in this forest grove and worshipped Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu for a long time. You see, personified scriptures, Upanishads. Remaining concealed from their vision, Sri Gaura Hari told them, your hearts are polluted by understanding Bhagavan to be formless, nir-akar. You will not attain me in your form as Shrutis, but when you take birth as my associates, you will witness my manifest pastimes. Then you both will glorify me. Shrutis and Upanishads. Those. So when they achieved here, they were worshipping Krishna and taking shelter of gopis. Then they got that. Also those sages of Dandakaranya, they, by the blessing of Ramachandra, they got birth in Vrindavan and guidance of gopis, and they got that. Even Brahma Gayatri, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote in Jayavadharma, quoting from Padma Purana, I think. Yes, that when Brahma Gayatri entered into Vrindavan, she became Kam Gayatri. So this Kam Gayatri is given to ladies also. So they are not deprived of anything. And even if you don't receive these mantras, but if you only chant Mahamantra under the guidance of Brajavasi, pure devotee, you will get Krishna Prem. Sure, like Haridas Thakur, he showed. He initiated that Lakshahira prostitute into what? Into Mahamantra. And she became pure devotee. Krishna Prem. Everyone took her darshan. And Maya Devi also. Haridas Thakur gave them Mahamantra. Hearing this, the Shrutis became stunned and secretly remained in this place, waiting for the age of Kali to come. This blessed Kali Yuga is the essence of all other ages, because Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu appeared in this age. Knowing that Sri Gauranga Sundar would perform his scholastic pastimes at this place, Brihaspati took birth here along with all his associates. Sri Vasudev Sarvam is himself Brihaspati, Sarvam Bhattacharya. He tried his utmost to please Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Sri Brihaspati knew that his Lord would enact his scholastic pastimes on this earth in Navadvip. Therefore, he became dejected. He abandoned the assembly of Indra. Brihaspati is the guru of demigods. He abandoned the assembly of Indra and gladly took birth near Vidyanagar. His associates also took birth in many places nearby. Sarvam Mahashoy opened a school here in Vidyanagar and began teaching. Later on, he began to think, I may lose Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu if I become entangled in the network of dry speculative knowledge. For this reason, he performed a particular pastime. Before the advent of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, he left his students in Nadia and went to another place. He thought, if I am a servant of Sri Gaurahari, he will certainly bestow his mercy upon me and give me his association. Thinking like this, he went to Nilachal and spread the influence of scriptures that delineate Mayavad philosophy. Here, Sri Gaurachandra, on the pretense of performing scholastic pastimes, jokingly, that is, easily defeated the students of Sri Sarvam. Sometimes Sri Gaurahari came to Vidyanagar and defeated everyone with the logic of his arguments. Teachers and students alike were defeated by Sri Gaurahari and ran away. Whoever hears about the amazing Vidya Lila of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu is freed of all ignorance. So our Prabhupada, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he made one mat there. Just behind that place where we go for Parikrama, Vidyanagar, there are Gauranitananda deities there. Now they made it, renovated that place. It is very nice. And just behind, little after that forest, There is the Sarvam Gaudiya Mat, Vasudev Sarvam Gaudiya Mat. Guru said it's a very nice place, secluded place for a bhajan that we also visit. So, because Sarvam Bhattacharya, he appeared there and he was teaching his students. When Sri Jiva heard about Sriman Mahaprabhu's pastimes of scholarship, the bliss of prema overwhelmed him and he rolled about in the dust of Vyaspit in Vedanagar. That is another name of Vidyanagar. Veda and Vidya, this is same, knowledge. Sri Jiva made a request at the lotus feet of Sri Nityananda Prabhu. O Lord, please clear this doubt of mine. The knowledge of Sankhya and logic are inauspicious. How can they have a place in this eternal Dham? Hearing this, Sri Nityananda Prabhu embraced Sri Jiva and answered his question, chanting Hari Bol with great affection. Sri Nityananda Prabhu said, O Jiva, no inauspiciousness can exist in this pure holy abode of Sriman Mahaprabhu. Sankhya and logic by themselves are devoid of potency here. They are dependent on bhakti and serve bhakti. People who have become wicked by their sinful acts turn everything upside down. Here, bhakti is the supreme goddess and all others are her servants. The purpose of logic, yoga, Sankhya and others is to illuminate bhakti. Navadvip is the abode of the 9 limbs of devotional service. Here, karma and jnana are always serving bhakti. To those averse to Bhagavan, the scriptures give a wicked intelligence, but to those who are virtuous, they bestow the good intelligence of attachment to Sri Krishna. Prauda Maya is a maidservant of Sri Gaura and the presiding deity of this place. She resides here throughout each and every yuga and serves Sri Gaurahuri. In her form as Mahamaya, Prauda Maya makes the sinful offenders of Vaishnavas blind and gives them various types of miseries. In her form of knowledge, as Shuddha Saraswati, Prauda Maya destroys all sins and results of fruitive actions. But if a person offends Vaishnavas, she keeps him far away from her because of his aparad. Such wicked persons may acquire knowledge in Naudya, but they will never attain the treasure of Prema, or Sri Krishna's lotus feet. Instead of knowledge, such persons acquire only ignorance. They can never perceive the magnificence of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu's Naudya. Therefore, knowledge can never be inauspicious. Only ignorance, the shadow of knowledge, is inauspicious. O Jiva, by Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu's mercy, all these truths will be revealed in your heart. Later, according to Mahaprabhu's desire, you will describe this in your scriptures. Shriman Mahaprabhu will reveal scriptures through you. Now let us go to the residence of Sri Jannu Muni. This was Sri Jiva Goswami's seva. What Mahaprabhu gave teaching about Krishna Prema, he collected all scriptures and proved everything. He wrote 400,000 verses, Jiva Goswami, the most of all Goswamis. Rupa Sanatan about 100,000 verses, and Jiva Goswami 400,000. The Sandarbhas are very famous, and that Gopal Champu and so many things he wrote. And so many commentaries to Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Ujjwal Nilamani in this. Speaking in this way, They all reached Jannagar and gazed at the beauty of Jannu Muni's hermitage. Sri Nityananda said, "This supremely enchanting place is called Navadvip. It is the famous Bhadravan of Vrindavan. At this place, Jannu Muni underwent austerities and received darshan of Sri Gaura's golden form. Once, when Jannu Muni was chanting his prayers at twilight, Sandhya, his Achaman cup or Panchapatra, Achaman cup is one part of Panchapatra, suddenly fell into the strong current of Bhagirathi. Because before you are chanting Vedic mantras, you have to do Achaman. It is necessary. Seeing his Achaman cup swept away in river Bhagirathi's current, Jannu Muni swallowed her entire water in just one gulp. When King Bhagiratha could not see the Bhagavati Ganga following him, he became most anxious. Where has Ganga gone? He pondered in distress. Thinking like this, he discovered that Jannu Muni had swallowed the entire current, and thus Bhagiratha became most aggrieved. Very powerful, Jannu Muni. You will find his biography there in Gurudev's Puranic Charitavali. It is possible for them. Like Agastya, he drank whole ocean. King Bhagirath worshipped Jannu Muni patiently for several days. Satisfied by his worship, Jannu Muni then pierced one of his limbs and released Ganga. In one kalpa, she came out from his ear, right ear. That is why right ear is always pure. If you cannot wash your hands in some circumstance, then you have to touch your right ear. And that sacred thread is also put on right ear when you do those body things. And in one kalpa, Ganga came out from his thigh. He cut little, make a hole, and she came out. From then on, people started calling Ganga by the name Jannavi, the daughter of Jannu Muni. A long time after this incident, Ganga's son, Sri Bhishmadev, came to see his maternal grandfather, Sri Jannu Muni, at this place. Bhishmadev, Devavrata, you will find his biography very good in Puranic Charitavali. We only hear, like in Gita, that he was on the other side like this, but there you have whole history. He's not ordinary person, Bhishma. And at last he left his body there in Kurukshetra on the bed of arrows, seeing the lotus face of Krishna. Willingly he left. Sri Jannu Mahashwai showed much affection to Bhishma and kept him at his cottage for many days. Bhishma Dev received unsurpassed teachings on the topmost dharma from Jannu Muni. The essence of these teachings he in turn conveyed to Yudhishthir Maharaj. That was in Kurukshetra. By staying in Navadvip, Bhishma attained the wealth of bhakti. Henceforth, he was counted among the prominent Vaishnavas. He is one of the 12 Mahajanas. Janavadvip is therefore most sacred. Only fortunate persons reside here. That day, Sri Nityananda Prabhu and all the devotees stayed in one devotee's house in Janavadvip. The next morning, Sri Nityananda Prabhu, together with the devotees, proceeded towards Modadrum Dvip. Bhakti Vinod, whose pride is the lotus feet of Sri Janavadevi and Sri Nityananda Prabhu, is singing the glories of Nadia. That is transcendental pride. Gorima here. All glories to Sri Gaurahari. who manifested as the Panchatattva. All glories to the topmost holy abode, Sri Navadvip Dham. When they arrived in the village of Mamgachi, Sri Nityananda Prabhu said, "This is Navadvip. Ayodhya is present here." In a previous kalpa, when Lord Sri Ramchandra was in exile in the forest, he came to this place with Lakshman and Janaki. They built a cottage underneath a large banyan tree and blissfully resided here for many days. Yes, previous kalpa. Seeing the beauty of Sri Navadvip, Raghunandan Sri Ramachandra smiled gently. Aha! How mesmerizing was his darkish form, resembling the color of newly sprouting durva grass. His eyes were like lotuses, and in his hand was a beautiful bow. Matted locks adorned his head, and his brahmachari dress stole the hearts of all. Seeing Sri Ramachandra smiling, Sri Janaki asked what was making him smile. Sri Ramachandra replied, "Listen, O Sita, daughter of King Janak. I will now narrate to you a most confidential episode. When the blessed Kali Yuga comes, I will assume a golden form and appear here in Nadia. In the house of Sri Jagannath Mishra, I will appear from Sri Sachi Devi's womb in the form of Gaurango. I will bestow the highest divine love, prema, upon those fortunate persons who will behold my childhood pastimes. At that time, O beloved, I will perform pastimes of studying and teaching, and I will reveal the glories of the holy name. I will accept sannyas and go to Nilachal. My mother will take her daughter-in-law on her lap and weep." Hearing these words of Sri Ramachandra, Sri Sita Devi asked, "O lotus-eyed one, why will you make your mother cry? Why will you leave your wife and take sannyas? What happiness will you get by causing her such grief?" Sri Ramachandra replied, "O beloved, you know everything. In order to instruct the living entities, you are acting as if ignorant, means asking on our behalf, so that we come to know. Listen, O Sita, loving devotion for me is relished in two ways. Happiness that arises from union with me is known as Sambhog, and that which arises out of separation from me is called Vipralamba. Although my eternal devotees always desire only Sambhog, by my mercy they also relish Vipralamba. The Bhaktas know that the distress that arises from separation from Sri Krishna is in reality the most exalted bliss. This is because one derives millions of times greater happiness from the meeting after Vipralamba than the happiness of a meeting prior to Vipralamba. Separation from me also yields happiness. Therefore, to attain that happiness, you also accept separation from me. This is described in the four Vedas. Mother Kaushalya, whom the Vedas describe to be Aditi, will be known by the name Sri Sachi Devi. In my avatar as Sri Gaura, you will serve me as Vishnu Priya Devi, and out of separation from me, you will manifest the golden deity of me. In this avatar of Sri Ram, I, in separation from you, will have a golden Sita made, and I will worship you in the city of Ayodhya. You, in turn, will make a deity of Sri Gaurango and worship me in this city of Nadia. O Sita, this matter is highly confidential and should not yet be disclosed in the presence of people in general. You know, when Ramachandra had to abandon Sita because people start to speak wrongly, so then he had to do that yagya. But they said you cannot do that yagya without your wife. So you will have to marry again, another one. Then he said, no, only one wife I accepted. And then he said, I will make a deity of Sita to be present here. And they agreed, the priests. They said it is okay, it will work. And here in Nadia, now still that deity is there, worshipped by Vishnu Priya Devi. He has hands like this. Dhameshwar Mahaprabhu. You will see there. She worshipped in separation grief. One is separation from Supreme Lord, another is separation from devotee. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked Raya Ramananda, what is the greatest unhappiness? Then Raya Ramananda replied, separation grief from devotee. That is highest type of distress. They will feel that, but that is highest type of bliss. So today also, one devotee here from Slovenia, he left his body today, Srivas Prabhu. I was there on his initiation when he took Harinam from Srila Bhakti Vaibhav Puri Maharaj in 1999, when I also first time met Srila Puri Gosai Maharaj here. So at that time he took Harinam and I had to translate there. I was also very new, but somehow the Puri Maharaj they told, yeah, I will have to translate. So I was translating, and I still remember he was explaining these 4 rules, no meat eating and this, and he said about the Kali Maharaj from Bhagavatam, that, but that time I did not know details of that in Bhagavatam. I was new. So somehow I tried to understand what Puri Maharaj was saying, and I was translating with some, like, not very fluently. And I remember Puri Maharaj, where he said boldly, you clearly you translate. You translate clearly. So by his grace, somehow I did. So he, at that time, his wife and himself and their brother and one friend and his daughter, maybe someone else, they took Harinam initiation. So he gave them these names, Srivas, and his wife was named Malini. And because they are in Gaur Lila, Srivas and Malini, and brother is Shri Ram, he got that name also. And another that friend, he got the name Shri Nidhi. And there is another one brother in Gaur Lila, Shri Pati. But that time this name was not, because they were only them. So they made a lot of seva, he and his family. His mother also, she became devotee, Lakshmi Priya. They gave a lot of seva to Srila Bhaktivinoda Puri Maharaj in Puri Gosai Maharaj in Slovenia. All programs, whenever he was coming, they did a lot of seva. Also, one time our Gurudev stayed in that apartment of his mother. And then later on also, like Srila Vishnu Maharaj's program and Srila Govinda Maharaj's program, they organized. So they did a lot of seva, and 4 children, all blessed by Srila Bhaktivinoda Puri Gosai Maharaj. So today he left his body. So I am sure Krishna will bless him. His Gurudev will bless him. They did a lot of seva, and uh, he's teaching us that we have to prepare ourselves also. It is waiting for us all. So we have to prepare. Labdva sudurlabam idam bahu sambhavante manusyamartada manitam apiha dhira turnam jatetana patetanu mrityu java nishreyasaya vishay khalu sarvatasyat. We got this human birth after many births, 8 million births in other species. And it can give highest benefit in Krishna Prem, eternal welfare. And it is very rare, but it is anitya, it is temporary. And you don't know when that time will come. So those who are very intelligent persons, sober persons, they will immediately start bhajan before another death occurs, knowing that sense gratification was available already in all other species. This human birth is meant for some other purpose. It is to be released from Maya and to attain Krishna. So those who know these facts, they will immediately start doing bhajan. So we have to prepare. What we will think at the time of death, that we will attain in next life, or we will go to Krishna. Is possible, but we have to practice. What we will practice throughout our life, that will come at the time of death, that type of consciousness. So we have to prepare. And if we are sincerely doing, then surely Krishna will bless us. Krishna will come at our back, Gurudev will come at our back. So he is teaching us that we should prepare ourselves. We should not waste our time for worldly acquisitions that will not help us. We cannot carry anything with us, and it cannot satisfy us, and also it is not our actual business. We are having eternal relation with Krishna. Our business is to serve him. But we forgot that relationship, so we are having all sorts of these mundane relationships in this world and getting so much suffering out of that. So by the grace of Guru Vaishnava, Bhagavan Shastra, we have to regain our eternal relation with Krishna. We have to become aware. And then we will see, we have only one business. Our business is to serve Krishna, and also we will have eternal relation with all living entities in relation to Krishna. Those are pure relationships in relation to Krishna. They are all eternal. So this we have to realize. The purpose of human birth is only this, no any other purpose. We have to realize our eternal relation with Krishna and with all in relation to Krishna and serve. That can only bestow us happiness, actual happiness, which we are all hankering for. So we are fortunate that we are born in this Kali Yuga and we got human birth, we got Sadhu Sangha, Mahaprabhu's associates, so we have to practice what they told. So I am doing my Dandavat to Srivas Prabhu, I will miss him, and Krishna surely he will bless, and we'll meet there our Srila Vishnu Maharaj, disciple of Srila Bhaktivedanta Puri Goswami Maharaj. He always used to say, whenever he had to go from Slovenia, he said, you should not worry, we are all headed towards same place. We will meet at the same place because we are all headed there. That is Golok Vrindavan. So there we will all meet. We are one family, we will meet there. So like this, we will meet there. O Sita, this matter is highly confidential and should not yet be disclosed in the presence of people in general. They will not understand. They will think, why suffering? But they cannot understand that is bliss. So gradually they can understand. This place, named Navadvip, is most dear to me. Ayodhya and other places can never be equal to it. According to Rasa, Navadvip is superior, but both are transcendental. O Sita, upon the arrival of Kali Yuga, these three, Ramavat, will disappear from the vision of ordinary people and remain here in a hidden form. Ramavat, like Bangshivat. This is Ramavat. In this way, Sri Ramachandra resided here with Sita and Lakshman for some time. Thereafter, they left for Dandakaranya to fulfill the purpose of their pastimes. O Jiva, behold the place where Bhagavan Sri Ramachandra's cottage was situated, under that Rambat, banyan tree. Now only those who have divine eyes they can see. By the will of the Lord, Sri Ramachandra's friend Guhaka took birth here in a Brahmana family. But that time in Ramlila he is not Brahmin, but he was blessed by Ramchandra because of his devotional qualities. In Gaur Lila, Guhaka was known as Sadananda Bhattacharya. He knew nothing in the three worlds but Sri Ram. The day on which my Lord took birth in Mayapur, Sadananda Bhattacharya was also present in the house of Sri Jagannath Mishra. At the time of Sriman Mahaprabhu's appearance, all the demigods assembled at Sri Jagannath Mishra's residence to take darshan of Sri Gaurahuri. The great devotee Brahmana Sadananda Bhattacharya recognized the demigods, and seeing them offering prayers, he understood that his Lord had now descended. Greatly pleased, the Brahmana returned to his home and began to meditate upon his worshipful deity, Sri Ramchandra. In his meditation, he had darshan of Sri Gauranga Sundar instead of Sri Ramachandra. He saw Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu brilliantly seated upon a throne with Brahma and other demigods, fanning him with a chamara. He again saw Sri Ramachandra, whose complexion resembles darkish newly sprouted grass. On the right side of Sri Ramachandra was Lakshman, on his left side Sita, and in front Bhakta Hanuman. Having seen all this, the Brahmana understood the fundamental truth of the Lord. Absorbed in ecstatic bliss, the Brahmana went to Mayapur and, not seen by anyone, had darshan of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu to his heart's content. The Brahmana again and again thought, I am blessed, I am blessed. Sri Ramachandra is present as Sri Gaurahari, right in front of my eyes. After some time, when Sankirtan started in Sridham Navadvip, Sadhananda also chanted the name of Gaura and danced in the Kirtan party. O Jiva, devotees with spotless, uncontaminated hearts take darshan of Sri Bandiravan at this place. After hearing all these narrations and having had darshan of the eternal abode, the devotees surrounded Sri Nityananda Prabhu and began to dance. Ecstatic symptoms arose upon the body of Sri Jiva and he began loudly calling out, O Gaurango, O Gaurango. That day, Sri Nityananda Prabhu, being exceedingly blissful, stayed in that village at Sri Narayani Devi's house, birthplace of Vrindavan Das Thakur. Prabhupada made mat there. That most pure and chaste Narayani Devi, who is also the mother of Vyas, means Vrindavan Das Thakur, personally served all the Vaishnavas. Early the next morning, so at that time she was present, Narayani Devi. She served them all, Nityananda Prabhu and everyone. Early the next morning, after walking some distance, everyone entered Sri Vaikuntapur. For the sake of obeying the order of Sri Nityananda Prabhu and Sri Jannava Devi, this wretched pauper sings the glories of Nadia. Bhaktivinoda Thakur. All glories to Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu and the Panchatattva. All glories to the dwelling place of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, Sri Navadvip Dham. When they arrived in Sri Vaikuntapur, Sri Nityananda Prabhu smiled gently and spoke to Sri Jiva. You should know with certainty that this place, which is situated on the northern border of the 8-petaled Sri Navadvip, is Vaikuntapuri. Sri Vaikuntha, the abode of the Supreme Lord Sri Narayan, is situated beyond the Biraja river in the spiritual realm, the Parabhyom. In Vaikuntha, the three potencies, Shri, Bhu and Lila, serve Sri Narayan. Maya can never enter this place. Brahma, with short a, means Brahman or Brahmajyoti, Brahma is merely the splendor emanating from this transcendental abode of Sri Vaikuntha Lok. People with material vision perceive this Vaikuntapur as nothing but a material realm. In this Vaikuntapur, Sri Narad, with his transcendental vision, first saw the eternal, untainted Bhagavan Sri Narayan. Thereafter, having received the darshan of Sri Gauranga Sundar, Sri Narad resided here for a long time. An old and confidential history is related to this place. Once, Sri Lakshman Acharya, means Sri Ramanuja Acharya, came to Jagannath Puri. By reciting many prayers, Sri Ramanuja Acharya pleased Sri Jagannath. And out of mercy, Sri Jagannath extended his darshan to him. Sri Jagannath Dev said, O Ramanuja, go and take darshan of Sri Navadvip. I will appear very soon in Jagannath Mishra's house in the town of Nadia. Sri Navadvip is very dear to me. Parabhyom, the spiritual sky, is situated within just one of its sections. You are my eternal servant and foremost among the devotees. You must certainly take darshan of Sri Navadvip. All of your disciples are immersed in Dasyaras, the mellow of servitude. You should therefore leave them here and go to Navadvip alone. O Ramanuja, O resolute one, birth on this earth is useless for that person who, in spite of obtaining a human form of life, does not attain darshan of Sri Navadvip Dham. Sri Rangam, Sri Venkata and Yadava Achal are all just a small portion of Sri Navadvip. They are famous holy places in South India. So they are also here in Navadvip. Therefore, O son of Keshava, means Ramanuja, go to Sri Navadvip and take darshan of the beautiful form of Sri Gauranga. You have come to this material world only to preach Bhakti Yoga. May your life be successful by the mercy of Sri Gaurahari. You should go to Kurmastan after taking darshan of Sri Navadvip. There you will again meet with your disciples. Hearing this, Sri Lakshmanacharya folded his hands and made a request to Sri Jagannath. O Lord, by your merciful words, I have now for the first time heard about Sri Gaurahari, but I know nothing about the tattva of him. Sri Jagannath, the friend of the entire world, mercifully spoke to Sri Ramanuja. Everyone knows that Sri Krishna is the Lord of Goloka, that Lord Sri Narayan is his Bilasa Murti, that Sri Krishna is the Supreme Absolute Truth, and that he lives in Sri Dham Vrindavan. O Ramanuja, that very Sri Krishna is completely and eternally Sri Gaurahari, and that very Sri Vrindavan Dham is the town of Sri Navadvip. As the eternal form of Sri Gauranga Sundar, I reside in Sri Navadvip Dham, Jagannath, which is superior to all other holy places in the world. Although by my mercy this Dham is situated on the earth planet, all scriptures describe it as being without a scent of Maya. If someone thinks that because Navadvip is situated on the earth planet, it is inferior to Sri Shvetadvip, his bhakti will diminish day by day. Only by my desire has my inconceivable potency brought that transcendental realm to this material world. This is Achintya Shakti. Everything is possible. So generally people, when they see something in this material world, they think it is all material, and above this there is transcendental realm. So they cannot understand how the transcendental realm can also be present in this world. They have no eyes to see, and they think it is impossible. But what is impossible for omnipotent Supreme Lord? Nothing is impossible. He can make everything. So here Jagannath is explaining to Ramanuja that it descended here by my desire. That truth, which is beyond reason and logic, cannot be obtained just by studying scriptures. Only by my mercy can my devotees understand it. When Sri Ramanuja, whose mind was firm and peaceful, heard Sri Jagannath's words, he became restless out of prema for Sri Gauranga. He said, O Lord, your pastimes are most amazing. Not even the Vedas and other scriptures know of your grandeur. O Lord Jagannath, earlier I used to wonder why the scriptures do not clearly describe the pastimes of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu. When I minutely reflected upon the Shrutis, Puranas and other scriptures, then only did Gaur Tattva manifest in my heart. Now, through your instructions, all my doubts have been removed, and the rasa of Sri Gaura's pastimes have arisen in my heart. If you allow me, I will go to Sri Navadvip and then preach about Sri Gaur Lila throughout all the three worlds. I will reveal the hidden scriptures hidden scriptures words, I will bring out the scriptural evidences regarding Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Oh, this is some brackets here. I will read again. I will reveal the hidden scriptures and make everyone in the three worlds devotees of Sri Gaurahari. But they put in brackets some explanation, so if I read that also, it comes. I will reveal the hidden scriptures. In other words, I will bring out the scriptural evidences regarding Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu and make everyone in the three worlds devotees of Sri Gaurahari. Seeing Ramanuja's enthusiasm, Lord Jagannath said, O Ramanuja, do not speak like this now. Secretly keep this tattva of Sri Gaurahari's pastimes to yourself. After the pastimes of Shriman Mahaprabhu have become unmanifest, everyone will automatically come to know of them. Preach only about Dasya Rasa to me and constantly worship Sri Gaura in your heart. Now you should preach only this. So everything is according to the plan of Supreme Lord. How he wants to bless the jivas of this Kali Yuga, he knows. We don't need to break our head thinking we know better. It should be like this. No, we have to submit to his will. Then we can be peaceful and we can help others also. But fallen souls will think, I know better than God even. I know better how it should be. Preach only about Dasya Rasa to me now and constantly worship Sri Gaura in your heart. After receiving Sri Jagannatha's instruction, Sri Ramanuja Mahashoy came secretly to Sri Navadvip. When Sri Vishwakshena came to know of Sri Ramanuja's arrival in Navadvip, he considered that Sri Ramanuja may well become absorbed in ecstatic emotions and thus reveal the truth about Navadvip. To ensure that Sri Ramanuja did not reveal Gaur Lila prematurely, Vishwakshen brought Sri Ramanuja to this place, Sri Vaikuntapur. Upon seeing it, Ramanuja became enchanted. The Lord of the spiritual realm, Bhagavan Sri Narayan, mercifully showed Sri Ramanuja his form, which is served by the potencies Sri Bhu and Lila. Sri Ramanuja considered himself blessed to behold his worshipful Lord. After just a moment, Sri Ramanuja saw the captivatingly beautiful form of Sri Gaurahari, the son of Sri Jagannath Mishra, in the place of Sri Narayan. Sri Ramanuja fainted, seeing the splendor of Sri Gaurahari's beauty. Sri Gaurahari mercifully placed his lotus foot on Ramanuja's head. After receiving divine knowledge, Sri Ramanuja began to pray as follows. O Lord, will I be able to behold your manifest pastimes in the town of Nadia? Saying this, Sri Ramanuja Acharya, filled with prema, began to shed tears and continued, I will never leave Navadvip and go anywhere else. Sri Gaurahari mercifully spoke with a sweet voice. O son of Keshava, your desire will certainly be fulfilled. When my pastimes become manifest here in Nadia, you will also take birth here. Having said this, Sri Gaurahari disappeared. Sri Ramanuja was satisfied and resumed his journey. After a short time, he arrived in Kurmastan, where he met with his disciples. He began preaching Dasyaras throughout South India. Internally, however, he was absorbed in thoughts of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu of Sri Navadvip. By the mercy of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, Sri Ramanuja took birth in this eternal dham as Sri Ananta. He saw the marriage ceremony of Sri Lakshmi Priya and Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu in the house of Sri Vallabha Acharya, the father of Sri Lakshmi Priya. That was in Vaikuntha mood, Aishwarja mood. Sri Nityananda Prabhu, when Gaur is Gaur Narayan, then he has this wife, Lakshmi Priya and Vishnu Priya. And when he is Gaur Krishna, then his consort is Gadadhar Pandit, Radharani. Sri Nityananda Prabhu said, O devotees, behold the place where Sri Ananta's house once stood. Many devotees of Lord Narayan resided at this place. It is well known that the kings of that time established service to Bhagavan Sri Narayan in this holy place. All the devotees became unlimitedly blissful upon seeing the forest named Nishreyasa, which is situated beyond the Biraja river. This is Vaikuntapur. So just before I told that verse, Nishreyasaya Bishakalu Sarvatasyat. Nishreyasa means topmost, eternal welfare. So for this, we have to try immediately. Nishreyasaya Bishaya Kalu Sarvatasya, knowing that sense enjoyment was already available in all other species. Human birth is different. We can attain Nishreyasa, ultimate goal of life, eternal. So tomorrow we will hear till the end of Parikrama. And then Gaur Purnima Friday.